So, Natasha,
Hi.
welcome to the summit.
Thank you, Dancho. Thanks for having me and for inviting me to be a speaker. It's a pleasure.
Well, the floor is yours, Natasha. Feel free to share your screen and we take it from there.
So hi, everyone. Once again, to introduce myself, I'm Natasha. I'm the CEO of BizzBee Solutions, and I'm so happy to be one of the speakers at this year Outreach and Prospecting Summit. I hope that BizzBee will manage to have it as a tradition and organize it in the upcoming years as well. So today I will be talking about the different outreach channels and how you can utilize them for your business-to-business purposes. So as you know, there are a lot of different channels that you can utilize for your outbound outreach activities. However, my focus today will be on these four in precise: email, LinkedIn, Upwork, and event outreach, as I believe that as BizzBee, as an agency that has experience with these channels, it would be the best to share some of my experience with you and give you some tips on how you can overcome the challenges and disadvantages that come with each of these channels. So let's start with the first one. It's the email outreach channel. So the old but gold email. We all know that email outreach is one of the most preferred outreach channels when it comes to outbound activities of the SDRs. And of course, that's reasonable because email comes with a lot of advantages itself. So it enables you for a direct communication on a one-to-one basis with the prospects, a lot of personalization that you can use and tailored outreach to them. It's very cost effective and scalable. So you are able to send like more than 100 emails per day and without affecting or increasing the cost of your outreach. And of course, there are a lot of automation tools that can help you do it, schedule it for you. So make your job easier, but all of those automation tools also provide you with a lot of tracking and analytics that later can help you optimize your campaign and make better decisions on how to run this outreach channel. But that's, of course, not all. LinkedIn comes with its own disadvantages too. So one of the main disadvantages is that there is the issue of deliverability of your emails, because there are a lot of spamming filters and very easily your emails can end up into the wrong inbox or end up into the spam folder. Another disadvantage of email is that because it's very popular outreach channels, there is a lot of competition over there. And usually our inboxes are overloaded with many different kind of prospecting outreach emails that we're receiving on a daily basis, and that impacts the low response rates that we are getting through our email campaigns. Another important thing is that there are a lot of privacy concerns and issues that comes with email, and the opt-out and unsubscribe options that you must implement into it. So I will share some tips and some insights on how you can overcome some of these challenges and get the best out of the email outreach for yourself. So the first thing is to use some platforms or tools that can help you to check your sender score. This means to see whether your email will be able to be sent to the appropriate inbox of your recipients. Of course, you are aiming for the highest score possible. And the good thing with these platforms or tools is that they are also doing the diagnostics for you. So they're giving you insights on what part of your email message or your email domain is not working properly. So if needed, or if you have a bad score, you can take some steps and actions in order to improve this and get better results of your email outreach. Similar to this, there are a lot of tools out there that can help you with checking how spammy your email sounds, not just on the copy of the email, but also on the subject line of the email. And actually, as you can see in the example in the picture here, these tools even can mark the spammy words and help you to edit your message even before you start the campaign, so you don't actually end up in the spam folders and you increase the deliverability of your emails. When it comes to the spam words, you should try to avoid any words that are related to finances, that are related to urgency, that doesn't sound natural, that are over-promising, and that sound shady, and so on. So try to make your email as human-like as possible and avoid these words if you want to reach your prospects' inboxes. Another thing that is very important when running email campaigns is to use high quality data. Although this might be a little bit time consuming and resource intensive, it's very important to have high quality data. It's not just whether the emails will be right, but also if your data is up to date, whether you have the right people, right emails, and so on, because you don't want to end up with a campaign that has half of your emails bounced, because on one end you are not achieving your goal with the campaign, but on the other hand as well, you are not achieving the goal of the campaign, but also you are risking your email to being perceived as a spam or getting your domain restricted. One way how you can avoid this is to actually use another tool that can help you validate your emails before you run the campaign. So these tools are very easily to be used. You're just uploading your email list, and it gives you the score of your emails and whether you have the right emails or not. So even before starting the campaign, you can eliminate all of these emails that are not good to be used, and with that increase the chances of your campaign to be successful. You don't want to have a campaign like the one that we have here on the down picture, on the bottom picture, where 70% of the emails are either failed or unknown. So this definitely is not going to work for you. Another very important thing, because as we said, email is very popular outreach channel and the competition is very huge there. Is to, in order to get your prospects' attention, is to use catchy subject lines. Because some statistics show that 70% of the people actually mark their email as a spam based on the subject line, and also based on the subject line, like 40% of those people decide whether they will read and open your email. So try to use catchy subject lines that are short, that are to the point, and that will attract the attention of your prospects. My honest advice here would be, whenever you are writing an email, so try to think, whether it's for sales purposes or not, try to think like you're writing to your colleague, your boss, or your client. So whenever you write day-to-day emails, you are thinking of the subject lines to be to the point and to show what will be the purpose of that email. So even in the sales campaigns, try to implement that so you can get better open rates and then response rates. Of course, what directly impacts the response rates is the message that you're using. So the messages on email should be short, should be on point, should be highly personalized to the prospects, and should be showing how you can actually help them. It should not be centered around you, but it should be centered around them and how you can help them and help them overcome their challenges, actually. It's also good to implement in your emails previous sort of use cases or similar projects that you have worked with, and how you manage to help other clients with a similar solution. And at the end, always use a clear and simple call to action, whether it's for a call or sharing additional resources or information for the prospects. The call to action should be simple, and the prospect should be able to be attracted to take the next step based on that. So when it comes to privacy concerns and unsubscribes, of course, you need to follow the rules there. And if the prospects, you always need to actually give the prospects an option to opt out from your email sequence. And if someone complains and says that they don't want to be part of your email sequence, you should remove them. And another advice here would be, if you have additional people from the same company that you want to reach out to, also be careful how you will reach out to them so that they don't actually try to report you as a spam and you risk your email and the overall success of your outreach campaign. The next one, we have LinkedIn. So as of this month, LinkedIn actually reached 1 billion users on their platform, which is making it the biggest professional social network out there. So this means that LinkedIn has a huge B2B user base. And the most important thing is that it's a self-updating database. So whenever prospects are changing their positions or companies, they're updating there, and you have the chance and opportunity to use all of those information in your campaigns. So that means that LinkedIn is a gold mine of information, not just on a personal level, where you can see whether the prospect changed their position, who they're following, what news they're sharing, which events they're attending, and so on. But also, LinkedIn gives you a lot of information on a company level, like the company size, the industry, the funding the company that received, the news the company is sharing, whether they're employing new people, and so on. So try to use all of this information through all of your outreach campaigns, not just the LinkedIn campaign, but also use this information to tailor your email or other campaigns that you are running in your company. Another important thing is that LinkedIn is not just for a short term, used for the short term effects, but it's a long run game actually. So it's not just to getting results like on the campaign that you are currently running, but if you provide yourself and position yourself as a thought leader on LinkedIn, people will have on top of their minds. So whenever they have the need, they will come back to you. And the platform itself, it's not just good for doing outreach itself, but it's good to doing a lot of different types of networking and finding different vendors, suppliers, investors, and so on. But of course, it has its own disadvantages. So there are a lot of LinkedIn limitation rules, unfortunately. It's very competitive as well, being the biggest B2B outreach network. Of course, it brings a lot of competition, and it requires a lot of time and effort to establish a strong presence and build a successful outreach campaign on LinkedIn. So how to overcome some of these disadvantages on LinkedIn? First of all, when it comes to LinkedIn limitation rules and paid features, I would say here too that you should follow the rules of LinkedIn. So maybe some of you remember that a few years ago, LinkedIn actually decreased the limit of the number of invitations that we are able to send from 100 per day to 100 per week. And I think that for a moment we all freaked out when that happened, and we were like, what are we going to do now? So instead of sending 2,000 invites per month, we are now able to send only 400. But actually, it came out that LinkedIn made us a good favor with that, because now we can focus more on quality rather than quantity and handpick the prospects that are actually highly targeted for us and personalized, and make our outreach more towards the prospects, bring them more value rather than just sending a lot of messages to the people. So as I said, my advice would be to follow LinkedIn rules, and because it's not worth it if you have already a good established profile, it's not worth it to risk your profile being restricted or blocked just for the sake of finding loopholes in terms of increasing the quantity of sending invites and so on, but rather keep your reputation good, follow the rules, and if you want to scale, try using multiple profiles. So have your whole sales team use their profiles to run LinkedIn outreach rather than put your profile into a risk. When it comes to competition, of course, there are some things that you should do in order to stand out in the crowd. The first thing is to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn, the first impression actually that you are giving to the prospects is by your profile. It highly impacts the acceptance rate of your outreach campaign. So your profile should be very well optimized. It should represent your brand very well. You should have a good cover picture, good profile picture, headline, summary, and so on. So when people actually see your profile, they first should be attracted to connect with you. And then on a later stage, based on the value that you provide to them, they should be interested to engage in conversation with you or become your clients. So a good profile optimization is a key for bringing a good impression on LinkedIn. And one very important aspect, I think several people today mentioned this in their presentations, is that your outreach should be built on relationship building rather than direct selling. This is especially true for high-ticket service providers, because you cannot just go to a person and try to sell them directly a solution that is worth, I don't know, several $1,000s or euros. So we even have some analogy here internally where we say that when you go to a bar, if you like some girl, you cannot just go to the girl and propose it. propose her, but you need to start some chit chat with her, use some icebreakers, use some normal conversation starters, and then after you build the trust, after you build the relationship, you can get to the next stage. So that's why at BizzBee, based on our experience so far and the mistakes that we've done in the past, we developed our 4-step message sequence. My colleague Buba was already talking about this earlier today, so I won't get into much detail, but I think you all get the point that on LinkedIn, relationship building is the key rather than direct selling. Another important thing, as I said, this is related to the fact that LinkedIn is a long-run game. You should consider LinkedIn as the platform to become a thought leader over there. So it's very important to start posting on LinkedIn. If you don't have the time, at least start posting once a week. And it doesn't always have to be like a post written from scratch, but you can share some industry news, reshare some articles that are relevant to the prospects, share some statistics that will bring some value to the prospects, but always whenever you're posting, bring some value to them, because when they see that you can actually understand their problems and you can solve their problems, it's much easier for them to come to you when they have the need. Sometimes it's also good to share some personal things on LinkedIn, because people are curious and they want to see the human side of you and see how you are doing in your real life. So that actually brings us back to the relationship building and to the one-to-one and human conversation with the people. So one of the disadvantages of LinkedIn was that it requires a lot of time and effort to establish a strong presence and do this whole thing for your outreach purposes. So there is a solution for this as well. You can hire an outside agency to actually do it for you. So there are a lot of agencies out there that can help you with this thing. So the agencies can cover like whole part of this process, starting from identifying who your ideal target audience is, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, building the sales navigator filters for you, writing the conversation starters, doing the outreach, doing the nurturing, scheduling the calls, and some of them are even doing the calls for you. So this way you can actually focus on growing your business and strategizing for it, and someone else that has more experience in this will do it for you. The third channel that I'm covering is Upwork. So although it sounds a little bit unconventional, because when we think of Upwork, we think of a freelance network actually, but Upwork is a really good place to get new clients, especially because if you are an agency and you're a service provider, because it offers access to a global client base, a lot of opportunities to find specialized projects, and there are very advanced filtering on how you can find the right projects for yourself. You can filter the Upwork projects based on geography, on keywords, on different topics or areas that you can cover, on the hourly rate or the prices of the project, so you can find the perfect match based on your experience. So another important thing or another advantage of Upwork is that it provides fast results compared to LinkedIn, for example, where it takes time to build a relationship there or establish a strong presence. Here, the companies that are posting the job ads, actually, they have the problem already. So that's why they posted those job ads. So it's much easier to go to someone that is aware that they have the problem, and you just provide the solution for them. But of course, that's not that easy, because Upwork has its own disadvantages as well. First of all, there are the Upwork platform fees that you need to pay whenever the project is done. There is not much that you can do about this, but as you are getting more projects from the client, then the Upwork fees are decreasing. So it's definitely worth it to do it. And it also gives you the security that you will be paid at the end of the day. Another important disadvantage of Upwork is that is very competitive marketplace, and usually the companies that go over there are really price sensitive, and there is a lot of bidding for the cheapest projects actually are usually waiting. And also, whenever you doing a project, there is the risk of some of your clients to give you a bad rating or a bad review that can actually damage the whole experience and the whole success that you have on this platform. So how to overcome some of these challenges? The first thing is to make your profile stand out. Similar as LinkedIn, you need to have a very well-established profile here in terms of using a good profile picture, having a good title. So when it comes to titles, try to avoid like self-centric words like ninja or guru or rock star or superstar or so on, because those were the most often used words when it comes to the Upwork titles. And a lot of people are actually using them in your titles, so that it is not helping you to stand out in the competition. Rather than that, you should show your experience and expertise in the summary by adding the portfolio, the previous projects, the case studies that you have worked with. And of course, you need to build up your profile as you are getting the projects. So how to get to this point actually where you have a lot of projects of good success on Upwork is maybe at the beginning start with applying and working for some projects with a lower hourly or fixed price rates than you usually do. And once you build up your portfolio, you can actually apply to some that are more worth for it and that are matching your usual rates. Like any other channel on Upwork, is very important how you're reaching out to the prospects. So of course, here again, it should be very personalized. And one very important thing is that you always try to apply to projects that you actually have strong experience with. That way you can actually show in the message how you can help them with their project. You can provide some specific insights for the projects. And even if you have a portfolio or case studies on similar projects that you have worked in the past, it's good to share them here. You can also try to find who is the company or the person behind the job ad and try to personalize the message based on that. That way you will show them that you actually do your research and that you know what you're doing. Another interesting thing that you can do in your messages is to start asking questions related to the project. And in that way, on one end, you're showing that you actually understand what the project is about and you are asking some additional questions, but also you're open up the chances of them responding back to you and engaging into a conversation and ultimately inviting you for that interview call. So the last but not least, event outreach. So you all know that during the COVID, this has been on hold for some time, but now in the last 2 years, the event outreach is back and a lot of people are using it even more. And usually people prefer like face-to-face interactions rather than virtual or on-screen interactions. So that's like one of the advantages that this outreach channel provides for you. Another thing is that it provides a lot of networking opportunities. So it's not just about getting new clients. Of course, that might be your first priority, but also it can help you to connect with other suppliers, other vendors, other partners that later on you can evolve actually into something more. Another thing that event outreach provides is that you can reach out to your target audience, and you can consider this from both angles. So the first one is you can target the exhibitors of the event, or you can target the attendees of the event. So whenever you are thinking of going to an event, look at these two separate target audiences. And if they're matching your ideal client persona, go for the event and actually start reaching out to these people. Of course, the event has its own disadvantages as well. One of which, the most important one, it's very resource intensive and time consuming. This is related to the cost of the tickets for the event, the accommodation, the flights and so on. And also it requires you to be available, especially if it's a physical event, you to be available for a certain time on the event. On the other hand, it also has a limited reach. So you can only reach out to the people that are going to the event, whether as exhibitors or attendees. And the campaign or the whole success of this outreach can be dependent on the event quality. So if the event is organized poorly, or the people are not really well targeted for yourself, then you might not achieve the success that you want. So, okay, one way to avoid the costs is to consider virtual events rather than physical. This way, you can actually connect. There are a lot of matchmaking and networking platforms where you can directly reach to the prospects and get easily into conversation with the people. And think of the event as a strategic decision. So even maybe a few months before the event start, or I don't know, maybe right now, start planning for next year. Use aggregators like 10 times, where you can search for different events based on industry or country and so on, and find the events that are the best fit for yourself and your target audience. You can also search on the big event organizers on what are their next events are, and decide what are the best ones for you to join. And I think, yeah, this is my last slide. So how to choose actually which is the right outreach channel for your business. You should ask these questions, and in order to find the one that is bringing the best results for you. Of course, I'm not going to go into a lot of details in this, but first of all, you should define the goal of the outreach campaign. Do you want fast results? Do you want long-term results? Do you want to increase your brand awareness, to receive the feedback of the market? So based on the goal of the campaign, you should pick the channel that will bring the best results for you. You should understand your target audience. You should see what is the channel that your target audience prefers the most, and try to reach out to them over there. Always measure KPIs. So I don't have the time to explain, but each event, each outreach channel has its own KPIs and statistics that you should measure, and based on that, you can decide whether that channel is worth or not. And you can see the other questions. So I'll stop here.
Natasha, thank you very much. I mean, I see that there were 3 questions, but you kind of answered them through with the last slides. I'm happy to share them right after the presentation. But I really enjoyed how you broke different sales channels and what were the advantages and disadvantages and the insights from there. So thank you very much on that one.